Hello and welcome to the Gameweek 11 review pod of FooTea Fantasy, where we discuss football and FPL over a cup of tea. I'm your host Shouvik, and I'm as usual joined by my co-host Shourav. Shourav, uh, generally we have some upsets and some shocking results in the weeks that follow the international break. But this time, I think going into the international break, we saw a couple of major upsets in this game week. So, how was the week for you?
Um, Footballing wise, it was pretty good to see City lose, but I was expecting a Arsenal win. I mean, they could have won it at the last kick of the ball. Again, there were fair few decent results, and like the title of the pod says, Liverpool are on top of the table and with quite a lot of points.
Yeah, and it was a good week of football, although I think we saw some very uh, spirited performance, especially from Brighton and even
Which was lovely to
Ipswich.
see.
Yes,
Yeah.
and even Ipswich for that matter. I think they really turned up at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and very good week of football. I think in terms even if I say in terms of quality, I think we saw very good quality football throughout the weekend in all the matches. Maybe barring one or two, West Ham and Everton probably is one of the games which I didn't really enjoy much. But apart from that, I think we had a cracking week in terms of football. So let's dive into the review of the games. And just before we start, as usual, let's first review how our own teams did in FPL. Sharav, let's, as usual, start with you. You were 70K going into the game week. Tell us about how this week went for you.
Yeah, it was not a very good week for me. I doubled my rank, more than double my rank from 70K to 154K. My points was bang on average, 49. So with a few players returning, so starting from goal, and and one of my highest scorers in my team, Fabianski, the first clean sheet of a goalkeeper that I got this season with a 9 pointer. I played him over Flecken, which was a good decision. And yeah, I was, in fact, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, it was a very good clean sheet to have because none of my defenders got clean sheets. When there was I mean, there were tons of defenders and teams getting clean sheets, including Liverpool, uh, from which I had Trent. He got substituted with a hamstring, missed the clean sheet, probably missed some bonus points as well. He could have brought in some. And again, I had Lewis, who was a disappointing, I mean, quite a disappointing game, uh, disappointing FPL asset at the moment with the 0 points, and Hall, who I brought in against Nottingham Forest. So they could have had I mean, they did win. Hall could have had an assist. He played well. That I think it's a positive. I take the 2 points. In midfield, the only player that returned, I mean, the only player with a double-digit haul was Salah, who was my vice captain with 14 points. Semenyo and Johnson didn't do much. Both were games where they could have scored, should have scored, but didn't. Bumo was another returner with just assist 5 points. My forward, I had um, disappointments from Jackson and Wood, both with 2 points, and Haaland captain, who lost a 9 pointer and went straight down to 5 points. So giving me a total of 10 in the captaincy. So in my bench, I had Flecken, Rogers, Colville all with one, and Luca Digne with two. So yeah, that's the team.
I think Haaland lost 3 points. I think one to the yellow, and he was on two bonus, if I'm not mistaken. So he went from eight
Uh,
to
he,
five.
he he was on two bonus. I mean, after the goal, but uh, he was on 9 points. I mean, before before City conceded, I had the Lewis clean sheet and Haaland 9 points. So 18 plus six. I was
Yeah.
it was quite a good green arrow, but yeah, it then went haywire.
Lewis has been a disaster of a transfer for me, especially. I bought him in game week 6, and he has done absolutely nothing for my team. Absolutely, I think the only return I've had from him is one clean sheet and one assist. I think in game week 6 or 7 somewhere there. And apart from that, I think Lewis has done absolutely nothing. And I think Johnson, I think you were very unlucky. I think he missed the just at the start of the game, I think third minute or so, I think he just missed an open goal. Not an
Yeah, it
open
was
goal, but it was a tap in from a Son's
yep, yeah,
cross.
yeah.
And it was
Instead of
such an
controlling,
easy
he could have
chance.
instead of controlling, he could have just I mean take a volley, and it wasn't even a difficult chance. So
Yeah, I think he got blinded by Solanke a little bit because the ball came over Solanke and Solanke also jumped for the ball. But still no excuse because it was a beautiful cross from Son and you'd expect you know players to score that. Uh, yeah, so let's move on to my team. Another point that I wanted to make from your team was Chris Wood didn't have a single shot from this game against Newcastle. So um, that's
Newcastle were
another.
good in this game. So we
Newcastle
have
are very good.
yeah. So yeah, that's a I think it was either that's why I took the kind of gamble on Hall. So if Newcastle could have kept that first goal out, which was I think very poor from Newcastle to keep Murillo that space, but yeah, and they could have kept that clean sheet.
Yeah,
There was
because
no way.
apart from that, there was
There were no
nothing,
chances really.
no chances created by Nottingham Forest. Yeah. So we'll talk about the game in detail as we go ahead in the pod. Let's just move on to my team as well, and quickly I'll just read out my team for the audio listeners. So I had Raya in goal, I had Konate, Mikulenko, Aitnouri, and Lewis in defense. I played a back four, and I went with three in midfield with Salah, Mbumo, and Son, and I had three in my forward line with Strand Larsen, Haaland as my captain, and India. I decided to bench Fabianski, Rogers, and Carvalho and Greaves. So Rogers, Carvalho, and Greaves had no return at all, so nothing to talk there. But so my decision to bench Fabianski instead of Raya, so this was one decision that I was actually quite confused on just before the deadline, and I was very close to playing Fabianski. But then my logic was that I was starting India. And to start an Everton defender and a West Ham goalkeeper, I felt didn't really make any sense. And my alternative was to start Fabianski and bench NDI and play Rogers, which was a very viable option, to be honest. And that is where my confusion was between the two options. And in the end, I decided to play NDI and Raya purely because I thought Odegaard was back. I was confident with Arsenal as well. Arsenal's defense was fully fit again. Everybody was back, first choice. And also, West Ham's defense hasn't been good. So there was no reason for me to feel very confident about a clean sheet. So yeah, but as usual, everybody's a legend on Monday. So hindsight is a beautiful thing. Uh, was the
But
wrong decision, but yeah, still
yeah, but
okay.
playing three, I mean, four at the back did come out good. I mean, we had
Y-
three clean
Yeah,
sheets in a season where clean sheets are rare.
yeah, that I think I really got lucky with. Liverpool clean sheet. I got Konate 6 pointer, Mikolenko six pointer, and the most unexpected clean sheet out of all these was the Wolverhampton clean sheet with Aitnouri giving me 6 points. Absolutely gold. I think I never expected a clean sheet from Wolverhampton, even though they were playing against Southampton. Lewis really disappointed me now, and really he's starting to feel like a liability uh, in my FPL team. I'll discuss about him a little bit more with you, maybe in the FPL pod that we do after this, about what your thoughts are on Lewis and how do you see him going forward. But I think for me, it's just I'm starting to run out of patience. I mean, he's not returning anywhere near what uh, defenders in the game around his value are returning at this point.
Yep.
I bought in Salah this week as I planned in the preview pod as well, and 14 points from him felt very good to have him. I felt much more relaxed going into this week with my team, much more relaxed watching Liverpool play, watching Salah play, and I realized not having Salah really takes away my viewing pleasure of the games as well. I'm much more relaxed, and I can watch Saka play without having him in my team. I can watch probably Palmer also play without having him in my team. But I think Salah is absolutely uh, crazy. I mean, and especially this season, seven double-digit hauls in 11 game weeks is absolutely mental. I had Boomo, just like you, assist 5-pointer. Son again has been a big disappointment for me, just like Foden was from game week 7 onwards. And similarly, Foden, I had Son from game week 8, and he has been a big disappointment. And I had high hopes from the Ipswich game. I was very close to captaining him also. He was there in my thoughts. We discussed this in um, the preview pod of the FPL preview pod for the game week 11. And I think the only reason I did not captain him was because he started the Europa League game midweek. So I was not confident about his minutes, and I thought, why take a chance? And I'm glad I did not go there. Although he did play the 90. I got Strand Larson this week instead of Cunha, but to be honest, I my budget planning going forward only allowed me a striker within 5.7 or so. So, and with João Pedro's fitness not clear before we went into this week,
Yeah.
I thought Strand Larson was a safer bet in terms of minutes, in terms of the fixtures as well. Southampton was a good fixture, but he did not return. But he still has good fixtures going ahead, so I'm not really sweating on that yet. Haaland again, same as you, 5-pointer captain, and NDI with a 2-pointer. He will be out of my team very soon. So yeah, that's about it. 55 points for me. Basically a gray arrow, not even a green. I mean, I was 1.9 million and I basically gained 50k rank, and I am about 1.85 million or something like that. So my rank is nothing to talk about. But what there is to talk about is the Chelsea and Arsenal game. I am a Chelsea fan. You are an Arsenal fan, and this was the pod derby, uh, the first of the two that we'll have this season. Um, Shourav, let's have your thoughts first. Martin Odegaard was back, Arsenal almost back to full strength, if not completely back to full strength. What did you make of this performance?
Odegaard, Odegaard being back, we could see the impact he had. He had created uh, two big chances, one of which was converted, and another chance for Merino, which he should have converted. And he was there. He was there completing the triangle on the right. And yeah, not to say that we were extremely unlucky, but yeah, we were unlucky. They could have won the game, even at the last. So Trossard was very poor. He wasted a lot of chances. Even yeah, one of Odegaard's cross was also one of Odegaard's uh, lob pass was also to Trossard, which he wasted. I think Trossard was very wasteful in the midfield. Rice wasn't that good. So yeah, even though it was a full strength team, uh, they could have. I think they will need a few more sessions, or even this international break could help. Training sessions would help. Yeah, it's a good uh, outlook from here.
Yeah, but one before I talk about the game and while we are on Arsenal, I think as soon as Odegaard is back, now you have a new concern with the Saka injury, and he went off at about 72 or 73 minutes holding his
Saka is
hamstring.
always injured. Saka is
Yeah,
always injured. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm not bothered about that mostly.
it was his usual Saka hop, but yeah, but you will be
But
concerned
the
a little
tackle
bit
you
because
could see
it's
from
a
Cucurella, yeah, Cucurella, the tackle was more of a knock to him. It wasn't a very mild tackle. I think it did hit his thigh, or I mean, where we were concerned about so-called hamstring. It's more of a knock to the thigh. Uh, I think that's why he wanted to go off, and Gabriel Jesus came in, which I thought was weird, but he did have an impact on the game suddenly. I mean, his pace really did help on that side.
You would have loved to see Sterling come on, but he was ineligible to play
Absolutely not.
against his
Absolutely
parent
not.
club. You like him secretly in your heart, don't lie.
No, absolutely not. I don't
Okay,
even. I mean, I don't even watch Sterling play when he plays. I mean, he's just there.
yeah. So yeah, for all of those people who probably missed the fact, Sterling couldn't come on because he was ineligible to play in this game. So I think that's why Gabriel Jesus was the first choice instead of in place of Saka. However, from the game's outlook, I think I the way I saw the game, I think I felt it was a more of a 50-50 game. I think the stats also support that at the end of the game. I think if you see the XG was actually higher for Chelsea. It was 1.69 against Arsenal's 1.27. However, that was more due to the fact that Arsenal's most of the Arsenal stances that we are talking about that they missed were actually an offside position chances, especially the last kick of the game. That the XG didn't count of that because it was actually an offside. While who gave the cross? I think he was offside.
Saliba.
Yeah, so Saliba was
Saliba.
offside when he received the ball, marginally, but he was offside. So that didn't get I mean, the chance didn't get counted in the XG calculations. But the first half, especially Shourav, I think you'd agree that Chelsea started more brightly. I think after 12 minutes or so, Chelsea had 76% of the possession, and Arsenal didn't really see much of the ball in the early phases of the game. Although they did claw back, and by the end of the half, I think we had an even share of possession, 50 and 50. And I think the better chances in the first half were also created by Chelsea. The Gusto header that he missed. I mean,
Yeah, from the Neto cross. But yeah,
yes. And the
yeah,
Neto cross, I'd like to talk about that play as well and what Ben White was doing. I mean, everybody probably in the Premier League knows that Neto, he crosses with his left foot. You would very seldom see him cross with his right while he's making those runs down the flank or from the left flank. He generally crosses from his left foot. So for
no, I would credit it more to Neto. I mean, if you see that, um, see White's defending at that point, yeah, that's something I mean, people were also thinking, but he didn't do much wrong while defending it, because his the body feints didn't actually leave him completely open. I mean, he was continuously with Neto. He wasn't allowing Neto to cut in as well. I mean, Neto could do that. I mean, he has enough acceleration to beat White, but he was there with Neto. The cross, I mean, to Neto to quickly shift to the left and then cross the ball, not wait. I mean, that was actually brilliant from Neto.
Yes,
Yeah.
Neto, I think, was brilliant throughout the game. Not only because he scored, but even in the first half, he was really had his presence in the game, and that cross really should have been put away by Gusto. I don't know how you miss from there. I think it's harder to miss from there rather than to score. So yeah, good hell head the ball down, and similarly another header missed by Madueke as well. I think it was a Palmer's corner,
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, Madueke's chance wasn't really a chance that Madueke could convert. I mean, I don't see him. He takes a lot of shots, but yeah, I don't see him
Yeah, I
as a
don't think
quality finisher.
even I have seen him finish with his head. I don't remember a headed goal from Madueke. Yeah, and although he hasn't played much, to be fair to him for Chelsea, but I don't remember any headed goals from Madueke. But in terms of chances, I think both were very good chances and created very well by the wingers. So yeah, Chelsea could have scored there in the first half, and just like Arsenal missed in the second. I mean, Arsenal also missed a lot of chances in the second half. But
Sure.
if
Yeah,
you,
one.
if you come to the second half, I think Arsenal really dominated. You were saying something, sure.
Yeah, yeah. So on the point of possession that you made, like we have talked about it in one of our pods that Arsenal this season is not uh, looking at that control game. They're looking at more of sitting back, letting the opponent play because they're going defense first, and then using that opportunity to, let's say, counter or then or maybe score a goal from one of the set pieces. So they are not going gung ho. So at the in the first half, I don't expect Arsenal to have the majority of possession. But yeah, but the things that you want to see from Arsenal, those passes over the top, those let's say um, passes or the crosses from the wings uh, is something that's coming back. I think it was Merino who got a good chance.
Just as he
Who,
came on, I think it would have been
just
his
as he
first
came on,
touch.
yeah,
Yeah.
he could have scored with that. I mean, he was very very poor.
I
I am
again don't see what value Marino is bringing to this squad. Again, I fail to see that. I mean, he came on, I think, towards the uh, end few minutes. I think half an hour or so, less than half an hour. But again, in that period also, I couldn't see the quality from Marino to match this Arsenal squad. I don't
yeah.
know what he brings, and I felt you would be, I think, in a better position to say, to give your insights on this. But I think I felt Partey was way better than what Marino is.
I've been saying throughout the season that Partey is a way better asset than Merino in that midfield. I mean, how Arteta wants to play, Partey is integral to that. In fact, Merino could be a sub for Rice when you think that Rice is, let's say, is knackered and we need more legs or maybe a aerial threat. Then Merino could come in at the end.
Yeah, he came in for Rice. Didn't he? He came in for Rice also in this
Yep.
game itself. Yeah, but the difference in quality is still huge. I
But
mean,
he shouldn't bomb forward. I mean, except for set pieces, he shouldn't be in the box because playing Zaka's role, that those late runs into the box, requires a lot more control and a good shot in that player, which Merino doesn't have. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, on that point, Trossard also missed a huge chance from Odegaard. I mean, he
yeah.
should have converted it from the quality of player and with his left and right, he converts those chances on any given day.
I agree. I mean, those two chances were huge chances, to be honest. Uh, but again, on a similar cross from Odegaard, I mean, you could see the creativity was back in Arsenal, although always not as fluidly as we are used to seeing from Arsenal and what we expect from Arsenal. But Odegaard is coming back into the rhythm, and you could see that in this game. And brilliant cross from Odegaard, brilliant vision to spot that run. I think this is what we did not see from Arsenal from the past few games. We didn't see a single pass like this, a single cross or a ball like this where you just spot a run and find a player in acres of space inside the box. And this is what Odegaard uh, brings to this squad, and that's why it's so important. And a good finish from Martinelli, helped by a very poor positioning from Robert Sanchez. I mean, I am so sick of this Chelsea goalkeeper. I can't start, and I don't know what to say about Robert Sanchez. I mean, to concede at your near post like that, it's not Chelsea's level really.
Yes, Sanchez is not going to defend those close range shots anytime.
Yeah, I think Martinelli had a similar chance if you remember where in the first half where he his shot was straight at Sanchez
Yeah,
from a similar position, but
similar position.
yeah, but on a tighter angle. I think in the second half. That was a good finish, even though Roberts' positioning was very poor,
Yeah,
but
and
good finish.
a good so good thing about Martinelli is that he's now picking his head up. That's quite good. He's not running like crazy with his head down. So I mean that's something we would do like amateur footballers, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, now that goal, right? You saw Saka was also open for a tap in, but when he controlled the ball, I think Colwell was already back to Saka. He didn't. He he saw that and decided to shoot. I think, and that was a good decision making from him. I mean, it's not that, I mean, an amazing goal, but yeah, it points to the fact that Martinelli is getting better.
Had he missed that, I think he would have faced a lot of criticism for not passing it to Saka. I
Yeah,
don't. I mean,
it
we
should have
could.
it should have been a first time pass, but
Yes,
he controlled the ball and the shot on target. Yeah, that shows that yeah, it was quite
because
good.
he scored. I think all the Arsenal fans can now, logically see the play. But if he would have missed that, I think it would have, you people would have been raging over it at this point. Uh, Coming to Chelsea, I think Chelsea Palmer again was not involved, and I think we've seen this in back-to-back few games, big games, I would say, in the Liverpool game, in the United game, as well as the Arsenal game. I think these good teams are now finding ways to mark and isolate Palmer from Chelsea's play, and I think this would be a little bit of a concern for Chelsea as well, and also for something for Palmer to probably work into. He's still very young, obviously.
The one thing I feel about Palmer is that he plays the central role, and whenever he's playing against a team or a, let's say, top six team, the he couldn't get across those CMs or the CDMs. That's what's limiting him at the moment. I mean, if you for what I feel is for strong teams, when he faces strong teams, he should play on the wing because he has excellent control. He has a good cross in him, and he could cut in and take a shot. So that limits a lot of his play or dribbling abilities. I mean, when he faces a good defensive midfielder. So
Yeah.
I think that happened in this game as well.
And when he's deprived of the ball, he starts to drift to the right side or deep and on the right, and he's out of position, trying to look for the ball, trying to get a touch of the ball. And I think even in this game, there was a period of about 15 minutes where he didn't have a touch on the ball.
Mm, yeah,
So
he wasn't there.
yeah, so that's something for him to work on, and also brilliantly executed by Arsenal as well. But Caicedo again was, and in again, as I said last time as well, in the big games, Caicedo is really stepping up, and you can feel his presence in that midfield, and he's controlling that midfield. So I think he's coming good, and that's a good sign for Chelsea as well.
Yeah, yeah. This is the Caicedo of Brighton. What
Yeah,
what we saw. Yeah,
I think he's slowly coming back into that rhythm, and that pressure and weight of that price tag is now slowly wearing off from him. But Neto's goal from what a strike! I mean, in a big pressure match at home, trailing 0-1, and a brilliant strike from Neto. I think a great goal. Do you think anything that Arsenal's defense could have done to prevent that, or do you think it's just a great strike from outside the box?
no, it was definitely a great strike. But four defenders standing in a line, giving Neto that space. I mean that's not acceptable from Saliba and Gabriel. I mean you're not playing Kivior or you're not playing Zinchenko, but yeah, that partnership, where your CB partner plays. There's a Gabriel should have at least come in to block that shot, knowing that Saliba could cover his space. So yeah, he got, I mean, acres of space, but Neto took that brilliantly. It was a goal that even, I mean, Rea saw that coming in, he couldn't save it. That so
Yeah,
not taking any credit away from it. It was a brilliant goal. Should have The defender should have done better, but yeah, I think the result was fair. A draw is a fair result, but I expected more goals.
yeah. I think Neto's performance deserved that goal, and as you said, from Gabriel, it felt like even in the replays that I think they just switched off or they lost concentration for that split second, and you could see as soon as Neto was shaping up to take the shot, and Gabriel suddenly, it felt like he came back to his senses, and he went on to block it, but obviously he was quite far off. And brilliant finish from him. And yes, I echo the same thoughts as you. I think it was a fair result. I think from possession to shots to I think everything I think was even if you see the stats, I think everything is comparable, possession and everything. So yeah, good game. I think On the opposite spectrums, I think Arsenal probably would have wanted to win this more. I think
Mhm.
Chelsea, you could see from the post-match reaction, I think they were satisfied with a draw, which I don't really blame them because if you think about the start of this season, and if you would have asked me about Game Week 11's match against Arsenal, I would have told you, man, Arsenal are going to win the league probably, and this is a game we are going to lose. And a draw at that point would also have felt like, a big point.
Yeah.
And it's still a big point, but I think given Arsenal's form, there was a little bit more optimism. But yeah, I think as a Chelsea fan, from Chelsea's perspective, I think it was a good result. It takes us up to third in the table, above Arsenal, a point above Arsenal, which really nobody would have expected and exceeds, I think,
I
our
think
own
it's the same
expectation.
point, but with
No, Arsenal is on 18 and Chelsea is
eight.
on 19 at this point.
Arsenal is on 19. They are
Are you
same
sure?
point. I think it's a goal difference. So they were previously also on the same point, just due to goal difference they were above.
Okay, okay. Maybe, um, probably I missed that. So yeah, uh, that's it from this game. Anything else that you would like to add here?
No, I think just fact that Chelsea hasn't won a game for the last like what 4 or 5 years at Stamford Bridge against Arsenal.
Arsenal has never won a Champions League. Come on, man.
No, this was yeah. I mean, you could bring random things into it, but yeah, this is a random fact that I saw.
Okay. Right. Let's move on. And as we started the pod, and I mean the title of the pod is Liverpool race ahead in the title race, and we started because we are both Chelsea and Arsenal fans, so we started with the Chelsea and Arsenal game because that's where our interest peaked. But talking of Liverpool, Shourav, I think everybody is now in awe of how this how well this Liverpool team is functioning, and how quickly Slot has just turned it into such a well-oiled machine, and just seems so seamless. And the performance again versus Aston Villa was nothing. That you could hardly find any shortcomings there.
Yeah. So yeah, it again it was Liverpool's attack that mostly dominated and not the defense. They are still not a watertight defense, although they keep keeping clean sheets. I credit it mostly due to the fixtures and in this game it was Aston Villa's poor form and their probably fatigued players.
Yeah, and although taking nothing away from Liverpool, I think the last international break, everybody was talking about a difficult fixture run coming on for Liverpool, and you know, people said this is the litmus test. If they can pass this period uh, with you know without too much of damage or without too many losses or draws, and this is where the slot system would be put to test. And I think they've done very well. I think they've played some very good teams. They played Leipzig, they played Leverkusen in the Champions League. They've already played Arsenal, the game they drew. And I think this period where they had some difficult run of fixtures with Brighton as well, I think they've come out with flying colors, and it's a massive lead to go into the international break just before December. This is the last international break of this calendar year, and they're going in with a 5 point lead over City and a 9 point lead over Arsenal. That's just massive.
Yeah. So yeah, again, like the games that you mentioned, Leipzig and winning against, let's say, Chelsea or drawing against Arsenal, I would mostly credit that to the attackers. I mean, if you see Diaz scoring a hat trick, I mean, dribbling past players and scoring those goals, Darwin being uh, a good finisher at times, Salah being that clinical and also being that great assist threat. I think yeah, their attack is mostly clicking. But if you see games against Chelsea, they gave away chances. I mean, Chelsea could have scored a lot more, and Arsenal, Saka just literally destroyed. I mean, not literally, but yeah, figuratively destroyed Robertson on that side. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
So
but we have
even
seen
even
Premier
this
League.
game.
Yeah, yeah,
Even this game, right? Rogers could have had a, I mean, goal. Dinia could have had a goal. Watkins also got a good chance. So this
Rogers has
game,
a big
Liverpool,
chance.
it was a huge
Mo
chance.
yeah, Morgan Rogers had a huge chance. Yeah, but see, we have seen Premier League over the years, and no team, even if they win the league, can produce perfect results week in, week out. But it's about grinding out the results and
Yeah,
you know trusting your system and making that system work. And I think they're doing that brilliantly, and they have the players to execute that. And luckily for them, I think everybody's on top form. I think the
yeah.
only person I would say who has not really come out and shown his true class or has not hit that level is probably McAllister, because he's been quite
He's been on
well.
and off. It
Yes,
was mostly due to some injuries, some benching. So yeah, he's
yeah.
on and off.
But if McAllister comes, hits the groove going running, I mean, great. I mean, but the contrary can also be true. I mean, after the international break, you're relying so heavily on, as we talked about in the last pod as well. They're relying a lot on Gravenberg, and an injury to Gravenberg, or if his form falls off, um, then that could also affect them. But at this point, I think as a team, they're making the system work. Even with Curtis Jones coming in and playing the way he is, absolutely brilliant from them. Do you
Yeah,
think?
the bench is quite good. Another point, sorry to cut you off, but another point is that Van Dyke is also in good form. I mean, we don't always say that Van Dyke is playing well because we expect him to do that, but yeah, he has dropped off. I think last season he was also injured the season before, and if you see, he's making those lobbed passes, those amazing lobbed passes that he usually does. The first goal was one of his passes, and yeah, he's been quite good. And the Konate pairing, it's working.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I think that's a great spot that Van Dijk's form is back. I think the last couple of seasons he just dropped off a bit. Uh, just after he, I think, won the Ballon d'Or, and
Yep.
he's just dropped off a bit. But this season again, he looks back in top form, and I think it gets affected by how the team is playing and the results and everything. It just gives you confidence, and it improves you as a player and your performance as well.
Absolutely.
So I was just trying to make this point of Villa's preparation and how they countered, I mean, how they approached this game. They did create a few chances, but the ones they conceded from, Shourav, did you think it was a very basic mistake from them to not, you know, n- have a plan against the Liverpool counterattacks from their own set pieces? Because this is what Liverpool has been doing, and this is what Salah is known for. I mean, you see Salah's catalogue of goals
We could
or
get a
assists.
compilation on YouTube of Salah do a counter attacking from opponent set pieces.
I mean, I swear, and I think somebody should have sent one of those to Emery just before the match, because both the goals came from Villa's set piece, and it is amazing how that can happen. And if you remember, they could have had one or two more goals,
Yep.
because one of the chances Salah himself missed, and another one Darwin just blasted over the bar
Yep.
from a beautiful Salah assist. And having Salah in my FPL team again, I was like, oh God, what is going on? But do you think it was a lack of preparation from Aston Villa, or it's just Liverpool being Liverpool?
It wasn't just preparation. I mean, you could have a set piece uh, strategy, but I mean, you put your hand in fire, it gets burnt, you take it away. But I mean, applying the same strategy when it fails again and again. I mean, you see an Emery being, it's not like an amateur manager, and with that experience, Emery playing against Liverpool and the strategy not working, he should have changed it. I mean, he did get time. He does have a lot of. I mean, even in the halftime, right? He could change the set piece strategy. I mean, they could just play short passes and then try to play differently. But yeah, no, they had to play that high line against a pacey Liverpool striker. I mean, striking pair.
Probably the best winger in the Premier League as well, who's just lethal on counterattacks. And having said that, Mo Salah this season has just been on another level. We talk in terms of FPL, but even his his performance on the pitch in terms of the real football, he has just been more, more clinical. I think his shot volume has gone down, but his output and the efficiency from his shots has really gone up.
Yeah,
So
that has to do with how Slot is making them play. I mean, it's not the gegenpress of Jurgen Klopp, where Salah used to get a lot of chances and then he used to take a lot of shots. Now uh, they have to be more efficient, and also another point is that they don't run around. I mean, the gegenpress makes you drain a lot of energy due to the top three continuously pressing. So that has helped them play full throttle till 90 minutes.
yes, yes, that I completely agree with that, and uh, that's a very good point that you make. And under Klopp's system, it was all run, 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 and yeah, by the end of the game, everybody was almost dead tired, especially the attackers and the wingers, especially. Yeah. So I think it's all working very well for them. Having said that, I think Villa did create a few chances of their own. You mentioned it just now. I think they had a couple of very controversial penalty calls. One was
It should have
just
been a penalty.
I think I didn't understand the decision that was given just as Trent Alexander-Arnold pulled his hamstring.
Mhm.
The play just leading up to that, I think the Konate push
Yeah,
to Watkins, I think it was,
yeah.
and it was given as a fall for Aston Villa, and I did not understand. I thought that was a clear-cut penalty for Aston Villa.
It was. It was. I
Yeah,
mean, Konate went through the body to the ball. It was.
yeah.
It should have been a penalty.
Even the Pau Torres penalty claim, I mean, it was waved off very quickly by the VR, but I thought it had substance to it. I mean, it did deserve a review, and if you ask me, I definitely looked like a penalty. I don't know. Well, VAR is a mystery. I don't know if we'll ever be able to crack that. Did you see the that
Yeah, yeah, I was about to say. I think it's not just VAR. It's the referees as well. So it
will not
has been
make
a
any
really
judge
fun controversy. Yeah, the
will
video.
not no judgments on the pod, but yeah, that's not some that's a life lesson. When you're drunk, keep your phone away. But yeah, let's come back to the pod. Uh, this is again uh, fourth defeat in a row for Aston Villa and Emery. Very worrying for them. But I think the international break comes at a good time for them to regroup and probably, improve their performances going forward now.
Yeah.
Uh,
And rest before the congestion begins. Maybe
yes.
strategize on that because yeah, again they could not uh, play Watkins and Duran together. I think Emery needs to come up with a solution regarding that.
And even before now, the congestion period is starting. I think this is more worrying for Villa because they were already not able to handle the congestion with
Champions
the
League.
Champions League. Yeah. And now with the Premier League and Champions League all back to back, one after the other, yeah, something to think about for Emery. They don't have any players as such injured as well. I think they have everybody
No,
back.
they have players coming back. In fact, I think Onana is also fully fit. So in terms of, I mean, players they do have, but players are not. Their defense is definitely not delivering, and their attack is also not clicking. They're not creating a lot of chances. Just that it's just the brilliance of certain players that's helping them get through games.
Yeah, completely agree there. Their attack doesn't look as incisive as it was the last season.
Yeah.
So talking about four defeats in a row, I think there's another team and a very big high-profile manager with four defeats in a row, and this is unprecedented for Pep Guardiola and his men. City slipping to another defeat, and I think again, as I said in the last pod, I think I always start the pod with they don't have a Rodri replacement or they don't have creativity. But this game was not exactly like that. I think first half they created a lot of chances for Haaland, and uh, it doesn't sound familiar, but I think Haaland did miss a few chances. I mean, he could have scored at least two goals, if not three. I think just
He
after
should have.
just after he scored his first goal, I think he had a brilliant chance 7 or 8 minutes later, which uh, which he fluffed.
Yeah. Since we're on the Haaland topic, I just wanted to bring a few things I noticed about Haaland particularly. So if you see the first goal, he was on his left and Verbruggen came out. What he generally does when he's on his left and he cannot, shoot with his right, he dinks the ball. He did it against West Ham. He did it against, I think it was Ipswich. He does it quite a lot. It's not just one off. He's quite a good finisher, and that's what we take into consideration when we're thinking of Haaland. It's not the XG, it's not the amazing passes, it's his conversion rate. The goal he got was lucky. The second goal, it could have been a Verbruggen save and then it could have bounced off, right? The second goal, the second shot which Verbruggen saved and was off the bar was again a good shot, but it wasn't something that you'd expect from Haaland. He could have put it in the roof. That's expecting way too much, but it was not an amazing execution. The third one was I think, cross from Foden, which he headed over the bar.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was again poor execution. So what he is his conversion rate is not the conversion rate. His quality of uh, I mean execution is going down match by match. So they can keep creating chances. KDB can feed him good balls 1v1s, but if he doesn't convert like someone like a DCL, then that makes a huge dent in City's strike.
Haaland would probably go and die somewhere that if he hears us comparing him to DCL.
We're not comparing him. We don't expect him to miss a 1v1 chance. That's what we are saying. That's what.
This is a highlight moment of this pod, taking Haaland and DCL in the same sentence. But yeah, more on a more serious note, Shurav, just to emphasize more what you are saying, do you think it's also mindset problem now that he's blanked for so many weeks
Yeah,
in a row for the first time
absolutely.
probably since he joined? Do you think it's a mindset problem? Because I felt that, especially looking at how he got that yellow card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's just
I
not
was about to
there.
say that. Yeah, he's not there. He could see that him losing, City losing has affected him so badly that what was that shirt pull for? Why are you pulling a defender so already on the ground? Pulling his shirt. That's no point. It's not
That's
like
pure
people are
frustration.
clashing. Yeah, that's pure frustration, and that is what's affecting. We always say about chances. And match strategy and all, but we don't talk about form a lot. So yeah, it does affect the team and the player, obviously.
Yeah. I even if you see him on the pitch, his mentality, the way he used to be before, when he was on top form, just doesn't seem to be the same player. So yeah, again, I think
Another, yeah, sorry again to cut you off. So another, since we're on the form and body language and mentality, if you compare him with Salah against Brighton, you look at Salah, he dribbled past Estupinian, he didn't score.
yeah,
His body language is like, I'll do it again and I'll score. That's what his form is, and he did it. He's on that. Both are world class players, and you expect them to do that. But yeah, that's what's the current difference between Salah and Haaland's state of mind.
yeah, completely agree with you there. Even now, even against Aston Villa, when he missed a chance, but he scores, and even in the celebrations, in his body language, you can see he's oozing with confidence. And with Haaland, you can just sense frustrations. And I think it comes from you know from the way they play as well. Haaland is he's a kind of player who doesn't get involved in the play too much. He's standing there up top waiting for chances to be created. And I think for the last 4 or 5 weeks, he's just gone games after games after games uh, without that much of creativity and service. And some chances that he's got once in a while, I think uh, he's missed that, and that has only added to his frustration. So I think this international break comes at a good time for him. And see, I do believe he'll bounce back. He's just has too much quality um, to not bounce back from this, and too much quality in the service, in the team, in Pep as a manager. There will be a solution, but the sooner it comes, I think the better for. for both Man City and for Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
Uh, See,
We can
having
cover, yeah, we can talk about City and I think complete City before we move on to Brighton. So,
yeah, and so we've talked a little bit of uh, their misfirings, but I think Savio, on the other hand, was looked on the different spectrum. I think in the first half he was a very lively threat, had a very good chance uh, on the on the near post where he decided to shoot, but I think that hit the side netting or something, or Verbruggen saved it, I think. But
yeah,
yes, Savio I think gave a very hard time to Estupinian in the first half.
yeah, but what I feel like Savio is more of a, let's say, Liga Portuguese player rather than an Premier League player under Pep. Because I wouldn't, I don't think Pep would keep Savio along in the team if he has his other wingers fit. I mean, we compared Savio with Mahrez, but Mahrez was way better. He creates, he shoots, and the fact that Savio is, I mean, he's playing on the wing. He needs to put in those balls. So uh, there are a lot of plays where he should have passed. He didn't pass. He's holding the ball way too long. And yeah, I
Man,
really
man, if that is the reason Savio gets dropped, I think Doku would have been back in Belgium by this time. The way he has frustrated Haaland for 1.5 seasons now by not giving him crosses and balls. I think if that was the reason Savio gets dropped, Doku should have been back to Belgium. I get your view, but I
but Doku has a better shot in him.
yeah.
Savio is very wasteful. I mean, Doku could finish chances uh, if he's through on goal. I'm not sure Savio does.
But I like his play, sure. I mean, this is
From a
probably
from a footballing standpoint, I mean, he has great control. He dribbles
I like
really
his
well, but he needs
creativity.
to pass.
He has vision. I think he can improve. He's see we have to again remember he's very young and his the step up to Man City from Portuguese Liga is a huge one. So yeah, I think he can improve. I see the potential in him. I don't know if you differ on that, but I think I see a potential in him to improve significantly under Pep. He has quality. You can't deny that.
He has quality, but I think the gameplay at the moment is not suiting Savio as a winger. That's what is happening.
I think the gameplay in general at this point for City is not clicking because even if you see their seasoned players like Foden and all, Foden is not involved in the game. And
Foden,
uh, who could have thought? I mean, the drop off that Foden has had, the way he played last season and the season that he's having right now, that just doesn't make any sense at all.
and yeah, mostly and apart from the attack, even if you bring KDB in, the I think the major part missing is obviously Rodri. He changes the game a lot because the defense is absolutely rubbish. I think we talked about Stones not being a good defender, but I would take Stones over Rico Lewis any day.
Oh God,
Rico
obviously.
Lewis can't defend. Rico Lewis can't defend to save his life. He's not the left back of a City team. He should.
Yeah.
I mean, if he was playing for Wolves or any other attacking team, I think it would suit him best. But yeah, not for a City team.
Yeah. It's like saying Ait Nouri can play for City. That's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
there's no.
exactly. I mean, Aitnour is quality player, but yeah,
Yeah.
he can't defend.
Rico Lewis, I don't see him having any place in the starting 11 if everybody is fit. I can't see that. Especially given his performances lately. I think this is not the kind of performance you can give match after match in a Premier League. And no, I'm really not impressed with Licorice. We were talking about his attacking threat and everything, and I did not see any attacking threat from him in the last couple of game weeks, two, three
Yep.
game weeks. I did not see any attacking threat from him. All he does is go out of position and then starts running back once they lose the ball. And if you see the last couple of goals that City has considered, it's all been from Rico Luis's end.
Yep.
So yeah, his position is I think is under threat at this point. Simpson Pusey, I think. it's hard on the kid to be critical of him, but obviously he's not ready for PL. Uh, he's not done a terrible
You
job.
can't put him against a Brighton attack and judge him
Yeah,
based on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's not done a terrible job, but it's hard on that kid to be put in the starting 11 suddenly and been asked to play Premier League matches against Brighton, that too away from home, and expect
That
him to
yeah.
be without it. But he did a good job, but again, not good enough for a team like City.
Yeah. And against Mitoma, R- Rutter and Welbeck, you need a hell lot more than just Premier League experience. You need to be absolutely rock solid there.
Yeah. So we've talked about City shortcoming, but let's give the due credit to Brighton because they played absolutely an amazing game of football. Yes, they did not start well, and right up to the Haaland goal and the chance that Haaland missed after that as well. Up to that point, I don't think Brighton were really much in the game, and I thought City might really run away with this, and could have also run away with the game if had Haaland scored that second goal. But the way they came back from the tail end of first half and into the second half, as soon as Baliba came on
Yeah.
after the break, I I mean, it was like I was watching a different match. It's like you have switched the channels on the TV and you're watching a different match. Absolutely dominated City in the second half. City were nowhere there in the game in the second half, and it was just Brighton's attack after attack after attack. Welbeck didn't score, but I thought he had a brilliant game as well.
Yeah, Welbeck has a brilliant game, and again he took a direct free kick which could have gone in. He's very close,
Yeah.
and yeah, and Rutter and Mitoma. I mean, they are the dribblers in the team, and with a PhD in dribbling, Mitoma is absolutely killing defenders on the right. He's the Mitoma of 2 seasons back. Even though he's not returning FPL wise, but the chances he create, he's assisting kind of the assister or uh, yeah, I
No,
think he's
he's
creating a lot
making
of
the
chances.
making the gameplay. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
brilliant for the team.
Yeah.
Apart from FPL, I think for Brighton as a team, I think he's been brilliant. And I was really impressed with O'Reilly as well. I think this was the first opportunity to see him
A
in the
debut goal.
Premier League. Yeah. So and he was apart from the goal, he played had a brilliant game along with João Pedro. Both of them had a massive impact on the game. So
Yeah.
Brighton substitutions I think worked well. Cities I don't think uh, I think had the opposite effect. And KDB was also you don't expect too much from him just coming back from a lengthy injury. But do you expect him to start next game?
Uh, Against Tottenham, yeah. Spurs, I think KDB would be very essential to that Spurs game because he could unlock the defense. It could bode well for Haaland as well. Haaland or even anyone who's in that box.
Yeah. So I think anything else that you would like to add from this game?
No, I think
Let's
it's.
cover
I
that.
mean, we know. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things that would be interesting to see next game week is whether João Pedro starts and where does he start? Whom does he take off from
Or
that 11?
yeah, or he could come in late, replacing someone in the
Yeah, something
midfield.
to watch and keep an eye on, I think. Because Hustler was again very had some very good words for João Pedro. He said he was essential to this team and had leadership attributes
Yeah, he
up
was
front.
always his favorite child, and that's why I brought him in wildcard 4, and then Hutzler even didn't tell us he was injured. So yeah, yeah, he has not given me 0 points and dropped in value. So I'm not going there at the moment.
You sound angry at him. Uh, let's move ahead and let's move to the other part of Manchester. Manchester United versus Leicester. This was last game for Ruud Van Nistelrooy. I think he has been released by Manchester United as a neutral. I don't think I really agree with that decision. I don't know why he couldn't be integrated with the Amorim team, but yeah. In any case, I think he gave a very good farewell. gift to the fans, and the players also, I think, turned up and had a brilliant performance for Manchester United. 3-0 to Leicester. I don't really think the clean sheet was deserved because Leicester had their fair share of chances. They had a one-on-one chance. And Didi had a one-on-one chance with Onana. They
Yeah.
had a couple of other chances as well. And the
And in
scoreline,
NDT also headed a ball. It was a soft header
yeah.
to Onana. Yeah.
So this scoreline might be misleading. I don't think the defense was watertight. But in attack, I think they really turned up, and this is something we did not see for the past couple of years under Ten Hag. And that back to that free flowing attacking football with Bruno at the center of it all. Uh, Brilliant to watch in terms of attacking threat.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was what we expected of United under Van Nistelrooy to play against Leicester. So it was purely attack. Yeah, the defense wasn't good at all. Amorim could change that. He could play a back three, and it would be more of a controlled game, and then counter attacking, which United used to do. So yeah, Bruno was involved in all three goals, right? I mean, he did score, and the second, which was a known goal, he should have scored. I mean, he's a horrible finisher in front of goal. Takes amazing long shots from outside the box. Something that I mentioned in the last part that he could have. Leicester could concede from shots outside the box, and they did with two shots.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, that's I think that's something Leicester gave away to Bruno, and he took full advantage of it.
yeah. Your prediction and differential both came through with flying colors, and the Garnacho goal as well from outside the box was a brilliant finish.
It was a great
Brilliant
finish.
finish. Yeah.
And
Um,
it was a replica of the chance before. He did get a same chance,
yes.
and then the ball flew over. So yeah,
Yeah, 76th minute, I think it was. He got the same kind of a chance,
same
and
chance
then a
from
few
Bruno
minutes,
as well.
yes. So yeah, but I don't think you should be reading too much into this already because again, it's a new manager, so it's not like the same system is going to continue. A lot of people are suddenly very high on Manchester United and on Bruno in terms of FPL also, but I think it's just prudent to wait a little bit and watch a couple of more game weeks under Amorim before you draw conclusions or jump onto any bandwagon. Uh, but Mazraoui was very impressive, and
Mazraoui has been great
I was
throughout the
surprised to
season.
see Dallo taken off at 56.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Uh,
thought it would be the other way around.
I think it was more of yeah. I think he preferred Mazraoui more because Mazraoui creates some chances. Is not very wasteful and also good in defending. Dallo tracks back, but is more of a Rico Lewis. So yeah,
Well, Rico Lewis, I have,
yeah. We'll
I,
bring that again and again because yeah, with his defending skills, I think yeah,
I'm
he's
going to
going
get
out.
rid of him. Really, I'm so done with Rico Lewis. Even watching him play on TV, I don't like his gameplay. I used to like
I
it
think Pep
actually
would say the
before.
same thing. I'm getting rid of Rico Lewis.
So I think that's it from Man United Leicester. I think Man United, my interest will be peaked from next game week onwards when they have the proper new manager. I think they did very well under Nistelrooy. They played Leicester in Carabao Cup as well and had a 4-2 result if I'm not mistaken.
Five.
Uh, 5-2. Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, good attacking football, but unfortunately he's not there anymore. So we'll see how Amorim does, and I think going forward, we'll cover United in detail, and we'll discuss more about how Amorim has set up that United team. But it's something for us to wait and watch and see. I think the biggest shock, I would still say it's the biggest shock. I was just going to say probably City was the biggest shock, but no, this is the biggest shock. I mean, Spurs losing at
Was
home to Ipswich.
yeah.
Sure.
It's a home game. Home game at Spurs. You know how Spurs. What are the Spurs scores at home? And City was away to Brighton. I mean, we predicted a City clean sheet being wiped away. We
Yeah.
expected Brighton to score, but yeah, a
And
2-1.
we talked about that four. We didn't discuss it back then when we were discussing the Brighton game, Brighton City game. It was their fourth away game in a row.
fourth away game in a row, and they have a history of losing in Amex. So
Yeah, what did you make of this game, Spurs Ipswich? I mean, Spurs did a Spurs thing and bottled it at home. How do you lose against? I mean, nobody saw this coming.
yeah, it was Dragos. So one of the important factors were Dragosin in defense and Romero's uh, quality. So yeah, Romero has been horrible this game and mostly not very impressive this entire season for the past 10 game weeks. And yeah, the injury to I think Van de Ven also cost them a lot.
Yeah, but still, you don't really expect them. And they went, I mean, first half, I think they went 2-0 down. And if you see that overhead kick goal, I mean,
He got a lot of time.
how did
Not a
he get
lot
you
of time.
get so much time and space in the box? That was not an overhead kick like the one
Yeah,
Wayne Rooney scored or the Garnacho scored. He scored it, I think it was waist level or something, and it went through on the ground. His
yeah,
overhead
yeah.
kick went
He
through the ground.
dropped on the ground and then uh,
Yes.
it was
And if you
overhead
see
kick.
Johnson standing there, as soon as he saw the ball coming down and Smosdick just trying to take a overhead,
Mm.
he backed off.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was yeah it I mean all the defend so yeah we talked about Johnson, right? Brent Johnson was also falling back at times, but he wasn't defending. He wasn't he was again he was more Rico Lewis-esque, so he wasn't contributing to any defensive plays.
yeah,
And yeah,
Rico,
even the second goal, right,
Rico
was
Lewis is getting a lot of stick from us today. His 0 pointer really stung us.
and with Luca Dean on my bench with a 2 pointer, yeah, I think I should have played him over Lewis.
You should make a note of that in your room, probably in your room and stick it on a wall. Play Dinia. Did you remember you benched Dinia for his 8 pointer or something
8 pointer,
a
yeah,
few
but it
weeks back?
was for Trent, yeah, who got a 9.
It
So
was
yeah.
for wasn't it for Colville? It was for Colville.
Oh yeah, it was for Colwell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it could have been a clean sheet, but
Yeah. So yeah, we digress. Let's come back to the Spurs Ipswich game. Yeah, Ipswich were brilliant. I think if you see the work rate, we can talk about Spurs and their shortcomings all we want, but credit where it's due. I think uh, Ipswich were really hardworking throughout the game. They pressed well, and they took their chances really. Spurs always give you chances, and I think they took their chances pretty well. And Delap had a very good performance
yeah.
in the game. And Spurs, in terms of
Hutchinson was also good this
yes,
game.
yeah, Hutchinson was good. And finally, I mean, I had big expectations from Omari Hutchinson coming into this season, and he has been fairly quiet for the first 10, 11 weeks, but I hope he can, turn a corner and because he's a very good player, he's a good quality player. He was in the Arsenal academy and bought by Chelsea, and Chelsea sold him to Ipswich this season, Hutchinson. So yeah, good player there. What did you make of the Spurs attack? Let's address the elephant in the room. Even if Ipswich score two, it is Spurs attack that is their strength. And if they score two, you would expect Spur to probably score three or four against an Ipswich defense, which is the worst in the league at this point. And Spurs with the highest XG in the league. Why do you think what happened to their attack? Do you think? Because all of the shots, if you saw the match, if you go and see the highlights package as well, most of the shots came from either the edge of the box or just outside the box. Uh,
And that's something Spurs has been doing against when they do not have a game plan. So if you remember the Newcastle Spurs game where they lost 1-0,
hmm,
so it was the same thing. They were shooting like crazy from outside the box. They were not very high quality shots. They were just some shots were off targets. Very few shots were on target that were straight to the keeper. So I think that has more to do with how Spurs are playing. They don't know how to break defenses down. They just know how to counter. I mean, playing against West Ham or a Brighton would suit them more than playing against, let's say, Ipswich or even an Arsenal. I think Arsenal is not a good example, but playing against an Ipswich or let's say Nottingham Forest, I mean, that would
Yeah.
absolutely devastate them.
Defenses that sit deep and try, you have to,
Yeah,
defenses that you need to break down properly.
yeah,
So yeah, you're absolutely on point there. There has been a lot of call from the Spurs fans and their supporter group to sack Ange Postecoglou. Do you
yeah.
think that's the solution? Do you not like? Do you think Ange doesn't have what it takes to take Spurs in the Premier League?
No, I think when we talk about Ange, it's not like he doesn't have a clue, but he's the thing that he's doing this season is experimenting with a lot of players, and he needs to stop that. But yeah, sacking him wouldn't be a very uh, good step. Yeah, just at this point when Spurs are about to face a comparatively difficult run
Yeah,
where they yeah, where they face City and other top six teams.
yeah,
So I wouldn't be sacking Ange when they could turn a corner. If like some big games could suit them, they could very well win against Man City and under this form.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, and actually I think just 10, 11 game weeks would be too early to sack Ange because he did reasonably well last year as well.
yeah,
The only thing I like Ange as a manager, the only thing I think which I feel about Ange is that he has probably just one way of playing football. You don't see from Ange some tactical masterclasses or some brilliant moves.
yeah,
First of all, I don't think Ange in his system has a solid defense because we saw that last season. We thought things
mm,
might improve this season as well, but as usual, they're leaky. Now, whether it is the personnel in the defense or the way Ange sets up, I feel it's the way Ange sets up because he took a conscious call to play Madison, Kulusevski, and everybody and go super attacking. So from that you can see that he has a one-way system is what I feel, and that is just attack and chaos in attack. Not, from the wings. Last season we saw a lot of goals from the crosses from the wings and Richarlison
late
tap in.
minute goals as well.
Yeah, yeah. But from a defensive point of view, I think that is something that Ange lacks, and I think he has to improve the controlling aspect of the game, uh, because that is where Spurs suffer the most. So yeah, let's see. Uh, let's move ahead and quickly cover the Forest not Newcastle game. I think we at the start of the pod we said Newcastle looked brilliant. What did you make of Newcastle's performance as well as Forest's defense?
So Forest, I think it was more of Newcastle exploiting those spaces. So Forest thought of going and winning the game, and that's what uh, let Newcastle attack. So since they were Forest was mostly at home, I think it played to their mind that they could hold Newcastle back and then use those spacey wingers, which didn't help because of mostly Livramento and Hall on both sides. Uh, and like you mentioned in the previous spot that the midfield of Tonali and Joelinton were really good. I think that's their form coming back is
Yeah.
really contributing to that switch, the
E-
transition from defense to attack quite well.
Even Gumiaris, I think he had a brilliant game. He had a brilliant shot.
Gimenez. Yep.
Yeah, brilliant shot that just went past the post. And yeah, you're absolutely on point. I think even this game, the dominance was primarily because their midfield was just too much for Nottingham Forest. I mean, they couldn't compete against their midfield. So we didn't see much of an attack from Forest apart from the set piece and the goal that they scored early on. And I think Newcastle deserved winners, deserved scoreline because Forest had literally no other attack in the game. Very, very um, few and far chances to talk about. But Newcastle were right on it, and a good game from them. They looked confident, they looked energetic, and I think we talked about this that as the season progresses, we'll see Newcastle's energy winning them games because as other teams tire because of Europe and other competitions, I think Newcastle will drive home that advantage. So this
Yep.
December
And
period, I think, is very crucial for them.
yeah, and their players are coming back from injury, so they have their most of the midfield and defenders fit. They have Gordon went out with a groin injury. Not sure uh, how, let's say, serious that is, but I think 2 weeks is enough to recover. Even then, they have Barnes and Murphy on that wing, so they do
Yeah.
have a lot of options
I
for
think
this
Barnes
period.
is a very able cover for Gordon.
Absolutely, yeah, and he's quite good for Isak as well. I mean, he finishes. He's an amazing finisher, or he takes a lot of shots from outside the box. But yeah, he does put in a good cross or a good ball for the striker.
Isak had a brilliant game as well. I have to mention special mention to him as well. Brilliant game from Isak. So yeah, let's move ahead. And quickly, I put this here because it two teams I think which we generally talk about on the fringes, but we have quite a bit of interest in both the teams. Good assets, good players, even in terms of FPL. So let's quickly cover this game as well. Brentford Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth. One thing that I would like to say, having watched them over the past few weeks with keen interest, is that their defense at home is a lot better than how they're defending away from home. So
Yeah,
that's two different Bournemouth that turn up at home and away from
absolutely.
home.
And Bournemouth home pitch. I mean, like you have heard multiple times that it's a quite narrow pitch compared to uh, other pitches for the
Yeah,
stadium. So I think that contributes, and some teams are like Fulham. Some teams are absolutely monsters at home. I mean, they give you a tough time.
yeah. Fulham also their stadium is also not it's the shape is
Yep.
a little different. So yeah, they do have an advantage at home. And in terms of Brentford, I think Visa looks really sharp and I think the entire game, his energy, the way he was getting at the end of the balls, and the way he played, I think I was very impressed with Visa. Looks sharp, fit, and ready to take on that responsibility, the void that Tony left. And with Thiago coming back from his injury, I think it's a month or so he'll be back. He's expected to be back rather. So I think he's taking a claim in that starting 11, and I think he's doing a brilliant job. And another very important observation that I had was against comparatively easier teams, with all due respect to Bournemouth, Mbumo is playing a lot more wider since they're playing back four.
Yeah.
I think Damsgaard is going into those pocket of spaces. Visa is up top and Damsgaard are taking those spaces up, and Mbumo is coming from the wide right. While when we see a back five against the tougher teams, Mbumo is up top with
Up top.
Visa. So I think, and I say this in terms of more in terms of FPL, is that probably the easier fixtures that you see on the ticker might not be that good for Bumo, and while the tougher fixtures where you feel you'd probably offload him, and that those actually might turn out to be better for him. It's just an observation I had, and I thought I'll just put it out there in this pod itself.
Yeah. And it could be so Bumo's positioning could also be kind of affected primarily due to Damsgaard. There are certain points where Damsgaard falls deep, and I mean, with the view of him crossing again, so that allows Mbumo to go up. But again, if Damsgaard crosses, it would be a more of a ball to Visa or anyone on the left hand side, maybe Lewis Potter. So yeah, like you said, from an FPL standpoint, it dents uh, Mbumo's appeal quite a lot, and also the set pieces that he used to take now is taken by Damsgaard.
Yeah, Damsgaard is a big influence and big factor in that Brentford team. Both Damsgaard and Norgard, I think they
Yeah,
both of them make a huge difference to how well Brentford perform. And coming to Bournemouth, I think Clivert and his finishing from set pieces, those you would remember that from the Arsenal game as well, and this game as well, a very well worked set piece and a very good goal from Clivert, very good finish. Evanilson looks like he's gaining more and more confidence with each game. With
But it was a lucky goal.
it was definitely a lucky goal, but you have to be mentally sharp, present, and you have to
Unlike
be.
Haaland.
Yeah, we are really taking City apart in this sport. Yeah, but yeah, but these lucky goals give you confidence, and I think when you're new to the Premier League, these few goals, first few goals, no matter how you get them. If you remember, he missed his penalty before he even scored a goal. He missed the penalty versus Chelsea, and to come out of that and score a few goals now, I think he has scored in last 2 or 3 games. I think he scored. So good for Evanilson, good for very Clivert. I'm really impressed, and I think as much importance as we give to Semenyo, I think Clivert is flying under the radar, and he's a very good pick in terms of FPL. I speak, but even
Yeah.
in terms of that in that team, I think Clivert is very attacking and always involved.
Yeah. I mean, in if you're going for a pick, if Clivert had the 90 minutes in his locker, I would go Clivert over Semenyo because he has that penalty in his locker. So he's now on penalty duties.
Big point there. Yeah, big point. Um, just before we move ahead, I'd like to talk about Kepa's goalkeeping. Oh my God.
But when Kepa was injured, Travers was doing wonders. So I think yeah, Kepa should be kept on the bench.
That Damsgaard goal, I think I don't know how the ball even went in.
Yeah.
Inexplicable. If I can't even explain it on the spot, go and watch that game and that highlight. And I can't imagine how a goalkeeper can get beaten from that tight an angle on his near post. Talk about Robert Sanchez and Kepa and everybody being on Chelsea's role. God damn it.
I was about to say that. I mean, we have a trend of Chelsea uh, goalkeepers or ex-goalkeepers being horrible.
Can't believe we have spent so much and can't get a decent goalkeeper. And for Kepa, with this kind of a goalkeeping that he's putting on display, he wanted to be Real Madrid's backup keeper.
Yeah, yeah,
God's sake. Makes you feel like your dreams in life are still uh, achievable. If Kepa can become Real Madrid's goalkeeper. Yeah. So we've covered the big matches, Shurab, and but let's talk about some of the important results. Otherwise, Crystal Palace Fulham. Let's start there. Uh, at home, Palace against Fulham. Fulham are a team that can't be taken lightly, and we are just seeing that game after game. At home, they are a force to reckon with. Even away from home against mid-table clubs, I think you'd back them to perform and to score and to go for that win. And brilliant
yeah,
performance from them.
yeah. And they're like, I mean, again, not to bring City down, but they are playing like a mini City. They're playing like a mini City. See, if let's say if EOB or Adama or Raul is not directly involved with the goal, suddenly Smith Rowe comes up. I mean, he has two amazing performances and he could. I mean, the second was a very tight margin offside call, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was a very good cross, and it was a very well finished goal as well.
Well, unlucky on the second goal, but lucky on the first one. Lacroix just gave it away
Yeah,
straight to Smith Rowe and then got it back from Rahul Jimenez for
Raul, yeah.
a one-on-one and an easy finish for Smith Rowe.
It
So
could have been saved by Henderson, but still, yeah, it was a good
I,
finish.
I think both the goals you can say that Henderson could have done better. Both the goals.
Both the
Yeah, and even for Crystal Palace, I think Mateta missed a very big chance. Uh, but Crystal Palace are out of luck this season, I think. That's another team in deep trouble. I mean, we're not talking about them, but they're going under the radar, but they're really poor this season,
Yeah,
suddenly.
and it was the same case before the injuries. It's not like that Eze is injured and their attack is suffering, but
Yeah,
yeah, it was same case before.
fair point, fair point. Wolves versus Southampton, I
And
think,
sorry, you missed the best player in Fulham's team, Harry Wilson. He
oh
could have
God,
had a brace again.
oh my God. I think the players just attract this kind of energy. Once you're on a run, you get on that run. Just like that John Duran off the bench goals.
Yeah,
I think it's just it's a psychological thing, and it just that confidence that you get, and you feel like this is your moment and you're going to do it. It's the
And
same with him.
it's kind of a trend as well. If you bring in good finishers, I mean, Harry Wilson is a good finisher of the ball. So is Duran. If you bring in good finishers and suddenly late in the game, first of all, defenders can't adapt to that strategy, and even a small chance or a very low XG chance could be fatal to that defense who's out
And
of yeah.
yeah, and late in the game, you expect, you get some more mistakes, lapses in
Yeah.
concentration due to fatigue and everything. So yeah, it plays a part. And there's a reason they are called super subs, because that is where they come in and make the impact. So yeah, Harry Wilson, one to keep an eye on if he starts, if he gets any starts and how he performs there. So you can see that. Wolves versus Southampton is where I was coming on to next. I think the expected result was for Wolves to win. But a clean sheet is not something that I expected, and Southampton had a goal ruled out early in the first half as well.
It was a soft foul. A
Yeah,
foul.
very
I don't
soft
think
goal.
it was a actual. I mean, not worthy to disallow a goal.
The uh, Actually, it became more controversial because that soft foul actually overturned the decision, because the decision was given as a goal
Exactly.
and no
Exactly.
foul. So that is where I think the controversy comes, to overturn it based on that. So yeah, but Wolves played well. Cunha again, great goal, the great second goal from him. So one thing that I wanted to talk to you about Wolves is Chan coming back from injury. Do you think he affects Strand Larsen's minute, or do you think Sarabia's
VFX.
minutes?
I think Sarabia brings a lot to the game in terms of his crossing abilities or uh, pulling defenders. I mean, his dribbling abilities as well. So he could take away minutes. I mean, Chan could take away minutes from Strand Larsen because Chan also is a great finisher of the ball.
Yeah,
So he
but
could.
Sarabia, the kind of season he had last season and the season he's having now uh, is way apart from what we saw Sarabia last season. And because even Sarabia is not apart, even when Hichan was injured, Sarabia didn't start all of the games. I mean, he was anyways being benched.
Yeah. Oh
So
no, I'm not talking about form or how Sarabia is playing. I'm just purely talking in how you would structurally set up because if you need a runner in the number 9 position, you take off Strand Larson and then you could bring in someone like a Chan who can dribble past players or help in that counter attack.
yeah, fair point. Something to keep an eye on where Hichan fits, because I think Hichan, once he's fully fit, will come into the starting 11.
But I'm not sure if he comes in straight away after the IV
No, no.
or it would be more of a like 10 minutes or last 10 minutes or last 5 minutes
Yeah, yeah,
kind of
because
stuff.
if you see Strand Larsen when he was cramping in this game in the end, Hichan didn't come on.
Yeah, he didn't come on.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he didn't come on. So I don't think he's even ready for those 10-20 minutes. He was not ready in this game. Maybe after the international break, he slowly integrates back into the team. Um, the only game we have not talked about is West Ham Everton. I don't know if there is much to talk about. I think both the attacks we knew wouldn't were not firing. At least I expected that,
Yeah,
and
we
hence,
expected a draw. I think that's the reason. I think both of us kept defenders or goalkeepers
yeah,
from either teams.
yes. So yeah, nil nil.
Although
Yeah.
although West Ham could have scored at least a goal. I mean, it was again a Pickford masterclass that kept Everton in the game.
Did you see the last save? I
Last
think
one,
90.
yeah, it was absolutely. I mean,
Crazy save.
crazy.
Crazy
Yeah,
save. I mean, last moment deflection, and he reacts to that. Crazy save.
I I think Pickford chooses these games to show his, I mean, or bring his top form and then keep his spot in the national team.
Yeah.
Something he does.
And I think his season starts around 10 and 11, after 10 and 11 game weeks. Do you remember last season, everybody in FPL, I'm talking about, everybody went for Pickford at the start, and he did
And then
absolutely
they sold
nothing.
him.
And when everybody sold him, he started making
In
those amazing
Yeah, I think
saves.
it was in game week 10 when people 9 when people sold, and I
Mass
think in
sold him. Yeah.
yeah, Ma sold him, and the game that game week he produced a 9 pointer.
Typical FPL. So yeah, I think in terms of the review of the game week and the results, I think we have covered everything, and I think we've covered in great detail. I had a great discussion. Hope you enjoyed it as well. Shourav, any last points on the results or anything that you want to add?
Yeah, I think we covered all the teams. So
Yeah. So a great discussion here. I think before we sign off, uh, we'll have another pod coming out pretty soon. Although it's the international break, but we'll come out with a special pod midweek somewhere with a fixture congestion episode, and where we'll review the festive period game weeks and the midweek games that are coming thick and fast, and we'll review which teams have the best fixtures, which uh, assets you can target in terms of FPL, who are expected to play each and every game. So yeah, we'll come out with a very interesting pod and have a very good discussion there as well. So keep an eye out for that. It'll be out in maybe weekend, sure of weekend, or maybe early next week. We'll be out with the pod.
yeah, yeah, we are hoping it would come as a weekend watch for everyone.
Yeah. So again, keep an eye out for that. So as usual, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do like our video, subscribe to our channel, and interact with us in the comments. If you're listening to us on the audio platforms, follow our podcast, and you can find us on X, Instagram, and Threads at FooTea Fantasy. So connect with us on our socials, and we look forward to interacting with you. Um, it'll be a. I hope you had a good weekend and you're enjoying the international break just as we are. But we'll see you in a couple of days' time with our next pod. So have a good week and have a good night. Bye bye.